Welcome back to another GeekaWhat video, and today I'm taking you the best $1,000 gaming PC build for 2016. This build is very capable of the latest AAA titles at very high and ultra settings, and the GPU I've gone for in this build is one of the best of 2015 by an absolute mile. So without any further ado, I'll get into the parts list for today's GeekaWhat video. The CPU I've gone for is the Intel Core i5-6500. It's a quad-core CPU clocked at 3.2 GHz, and whilst 3.2 GHz certainly isn't the highest clock speed ever, it certainly isn't bad by any means, and whilst 3.7 or 4 GHz would be more preferred, in my eyes, 0.5 of a gigahertz isn't going to make or break, and for a $1,000 budget, this CPU is the best CPU you can get, and for $200, it's a great deal. For the motherboard, I went for the MSI B150M BAZOOKA. It's a Micro ATX LGA1151 motherboard and is very, very solid indeed. It supports up to 4 RAM DIMM slots. You've got a PCIe 3x16, USB 3, all the dibs on this motherboard you could possibly want, and for $80, it's an incredibly solid deal once again. For RAM, I went for one 8GB DIMM of Kingston HyperX Fury Black. I went for DDR4 2133MHz clock speed, and anything higher than this on the RAM really isn't giving you any good value, and DDR4 has gone down a hell of a lot in price at just $45. You can get another 8GB DIMM as well to give you 16GB of RAM later on down the line, and 16GB in my opinion will become the new 8GB and the new sweet spot in at the second half of 2016, and it will go up to 32GB of RAM in the current RAM configuration for this build. You can get the RAM in black, white, red or blue. I've gone for a black DIMM in this build, although red might be better in your opinion. You can alternate this as well, so you could in the end have 2 black and 2 red DIMMs and alternating colours to go with the colour scheme, but whatever really floats your boat, if you will. For storage, I went for the best of both worlds, an SSD and a hard drive. The hard drive is a 1TB Seagate Barracuda. You can also go for a Western Digital Caviar Blue, although there really isn't much in it. This just happened to be slightly cheaper at $40. And the SSD is the Kingston SSD Now V300 series. It's 120GB capacity, which isn't amazing, however is plenty of room for a couple of the latest AAA titles, copy your Windows, web browser and a couple of your most frequently used documents and applications, and for $40 the SSD and the hard drive both come in at the same price. For the video card, I went for the MSI GeForce GTX 980. It's a 4GB video card with MSI's twin frozen cooler on it, and for $500 the GTX 980, whilst a bit on the pricey side, is an amazing GPU and definitely one of my favourite GPUs of 2015 behind the GTX 980 Ti, which is slightly more expensive. For the case, I went for the Phanteks Enthoo Pro M. Phanteks really came weight in 2015 and really did very, very well releasing some of their first cases. And as Linus Tech Tips said, Phanteks, you need to change your website. You're a case manufacturer now, and they certainly have done so. They've released some fantastic chassis, and this Phanteks Enthoo Pro M is in a phenomenal case, and even won the case of the year as well on Hardware Canucks YouTube channel. And for $80, it's a bit more on the pricey side, but my god does it look amazing. For the power supply, I went for the EVGA Supernova NEX 650W. It's slightly on the pricier side, and you can view my review of the EVGA Supernova NEX in the card section now, or the link in the description below. I awarded this power supply 9.5 out of 10, and it really is amazing. The only thing I'd like out of this power supply is some control within Windows of load and some of the stuff that Thermaltate do, but for keeping your system juiced up, saving your money and having high efficiency, this power supply is a very solid choice at just $75. And that wraps it up for today's GeekaWhat video. If you did find it helpful, drop a like rating below. All the links you need are in the description. Make sure to subscribe, and we'll as always see you in the next GeekaWhat video.
We must never stop the way, yeah. Birds chirping and I hear my name, grasping into life. Life is happy but it's so insane. We must merely make a start. Savannah, I'm coming home. Savannah.